7. No, and perfect. Okay, it is 7 o'clock, and we will call the regular meeting, council meeting for the Township of Nipissing to order. It's Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025, and we are here at the municipal office in the council chambers. So we'll start with our land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, the corporation of the Township of Nipissing respectfully acknowledges it is located on the traditional lands of the Red Rock Indian Band, signatory to the Robinson Superior Treaty of 1850. And the township further respectfully acknowledges the historic presence of other signatories on these lands. Okay, are there any addendum to the agenda? No? Okay. Moving forward to number 2, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest this evening? No. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, which is the approval of our previous council minutes from November 18th, 2025. Are there any questions, concerns, additions, deletions from that? Anyone have anything? No? Okay. So we have our resolution to approve those minutes. Who would like to move? Oh, hi. Councillor, we'll say Councillor Harper and Councillor Hart, you'd like to second?
Okay.
Okay.
We're a team.
So we have resolution 2025-265, moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Hart. Be it resolved that this council approves the regular meeting minutes of November 18th, 2025 as presented. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, next up, finance. So under finance, we have our asset management plan. And maybe we can have CEO Colvin just have a couple words to open up about the asset management plan.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. It's a very big document. There's a lot of data in there, a lot of numbers. So I just wanted to provide, I think, 3 important points for context. The first is with this, one of the main objectives of this plan at this moment is to fulfill our compliance with Ontario Regulation 588, 588.17. Oh, yeah, right. Now, once we adopt and post the plan to the public, we'll be compliant. I say that it's sort of qualified. The actual deadline was July 1st of this year, but Nipissing, like many small municipalities, is working hard to meet kind of the end of the calendar year as a deadline, so we're not alone there, and we don't expect any consequences as long as we get it posted this calendar year. I should also note that once the plan is adopted, we don't need to update it for 5 years. We do have to review it on a yearly basis. And as I'll talk about in a moment, we will be updating it next year when our studies are completed. And this sort of informs my second point, which is these plans are best thought of as living, breathing documents. The extent to which you can improve them and upgrade the data that's in them, the more valuable they are to your community. When you look at the data closely, you see there's some pretty serious limitations in how many of the assets are evaluated. In many cases, we have linear aging models, sometimes with sort of highly inflated historic costs. We're already moving towards improving data in a few crucial areas. We have the water and wastewater study, the road needs assessment, and once those are completed, we'll use that to populate the data in the study and have a much better and more refined understanding of what we need to do to maintain and replace our aging infrastructure. The third and final point, especially when you consider the plan's recommendations, is the weaknesses in the data also apply on the financial side. The provincial A&P rules don't allow municipalities to include any non-sustainable sources of funds. So for municipalities, that means property taxes, your rate charges, and only multi-year ongoing granting commitments. So any periodic grants from the federal and provincial government can't be included in your financial planning, in part because you can't really plan for them. But in reality, they're an important way that municipalities like Nipissing replace and upgrade their infrastructure. So when you see the recommendations, they're sort of made for a context in which we're not likely to operate. It's as if there'd be no additional grants available to the future. It's worthwhile considering that scenario, but the likelihood is grants will be available. We'll be able to use them to improve our infrastructure, to replace some of our aging infrastructure. And so the recommendations on the finance side are a little overwhelming, but it's really important to keep that context in mind. So to summarize, the main objective at this moment with the plan is to get it approved, post it so we're compliant. It's important so that we continue to qualify for provincial funds. It's also worth remembering that we're going to be upgrading the data in the plan next year once some of our important work is done. And third, the plan doesn't dictate financial planning. It's meant to guide and inform capital planning, not dictate it. So it's a useful resource, an important document, but one that informs our decision making and our budgeting. That doesn't strictly dictate it.
Thank you. Okay, I'll just start with if anyone has any comments about the plan or any questions that Tim might be able to answer. Does anyone have anything? Yeah,
I think I answered all the questions that I had in my head, but I was wondering because it's all, most of it is based on age on the age of things, not actually physically assessing, so we are going to continue and physically assess all the buildings and the vehicles and everything ourselves. And not having new information, so that's good to know, and that how that doesn't include any grants that we'll be getting. So I was thinking that's awfully high, and some of the things, some of the buildings that are in big, really disrepair, we're not going to replace. There's buildings that we're planning on selling the land instead, like the old curling club or something. It's not like we have to replace that, and we don't have to replace the land. That is the playgrounds, the land is always going to be there. So there's, some of the things make it really look askew, but I understand that's all going to be fixed and it's important that we have that's done now. It's good that that's done now for compliance. So yes, kudos.
Okay, does anyone else have any comments or questions? I just have a quick comment. So I know when we read the first asset management plan a couple of years ago, it was a bit of a shock because of all the money that's involved, that's needed and everything. So it's actually good that Tim had mentioned that it doesn't include the many grants that we can access every year, but also the fact that I think it said 67% of what is assessed or what is described in this asset management plan has not been assessed. It's just based on age, purely on age. So, and that seems that what it's in the plan is that's normal for many municipalities. So I'm really glad that we're going over and above and getting those plans done for the water and wastewater and the roads, because that will give us direct data for planning and like you said, updating this so that it's a little more realistic than what we need to do. So it's good. Yeah, that's the only comment I had. So I think we have a resolution to approve this plan. There are no more questions or comments. So would like to move? Councillor, how about Councillor? I think I saw Gail go up first there. So we'll move by Councillor Westhaver and second by Councillor Cartwright. Resolution 2025-266, moved by Councillor West Haver, seconded by Councillor Cartwright. Be it resolved, this council receives the Township of Nipigon Asset Management Plan 2025 for information and approves it as presented. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. I just wanted to note too that, it was due in July of this year, but it's not like, you know, staff are sitting on their hands waiting for it to get done. I know that Lars had put it in to get done in November, hired the company and everything, but I guess there's only so many companies that do this type of thing. And he thought 9 months might be sufficient to get it done, especially since it's kind of just updating things, but turns out, no, there were quite a few municipalities ahead of us in line, so, and then it takes time to provide all that information, that they request, so, we're still compliant, and so I just wanted to mention that as well. Okay, where's my agenda? Oh. How did I feel? I like having my paper agenda. Is it there? Oh, sorry. Oh, it flipped over, that's what the problem was. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so, that's our asset management plan, and now we're going to move on to item number 5, council business administration. So this is the CA report 25/12/03/01. So, first item here, pretty straightforward, civil marriage solemnization services. So this is just to be able to continue doing that, with Tim performing the marriages, correct? Yeah. Any questions about that? I don't. Okay, next we have the non-union employees bylaw. So the proposed bylaw was prepared, and submitted by the previous CEO, and it flows from the organizational and human resources review undertaken in the previous year. So it's gonna replace the bylaw, which was last amended in 2024. So the substantive changes are the inclusion of the alternative workload provisions that were implemented for office staff during the last year, compensation provisions, and then the salary grid that Lars developed as well, that was approved by us. Training and education provisions to encourage professional development of staff, which we all agreed was quite important, so. There are no direct budget implications. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about that one? No. Okay. And then we have the Township of Nipigon Community Youth Scholarship. So this was actually developed in alongside in consultation with our student counselors. Thank you very much, Sasha and Peyton. And maybe you guys, or Sasha, maybe you took the lead on this, so maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the criteria that's involved, and I think you had a question as well.
Yeah, so, yeah, so I thought that it was a good idea for the applicants. It was just like a preference that they're employees and volunteers that have worked for Nipigon, because then there'd be like, maybe more people would go for the jobs, because I know they had trouble finding people last year. And, yeah, that might push people to go and apply for the jobs. And I just had a question. It said that it had to be a school inside of Ontario. And I was thinking that maybe we could expand that to Canada, because there were lots of people last year who went out of Ontario and went to like Quebec and Newfoundland and stuff like
My
that.
daughter too.
I think I can answer that. I think I did, that's just from the report, but when I went through the bylaw, it didn't specify Ontario in the bylaw, but you just mentioned it in the report.
Okay.
But I don't think it mentioned it in the bylaw. I just went over it really quick to see. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about any of this?
So we can take that out?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go through, real quick have a quick look again, but, under the criteria, it does not say. Oops.
Great. Doesn't say on.
No, it doesn't say. Be a resident of the municipality and a Canadian citizen or permanent resident must be, moving on to post-secondary institution for the upcoming academic year. It doesn't say going into Ontario or Canada.
If I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the reference is found in the definitions where it does refer to the province of Ontario. We can just amend that by.
I can maybe put that in the resolution. I think that's what we normally do is when we pass the resolution, just omit Ontario. Yeah, so that they're free to, it doesn't limit them if they're going to other provinces. Yeah, go ahead.
Could you just go do Canada at least, so it stays within the country and not go to the US or anything else.
Well, I don't know if that really makes a difference where they go. I mean, that they come back home eventually, but they just choose where they want to go to school, right? Yeah. I think that's important. Yeah, go ahead, Anne Marie.
Who will be the panel of judges?
As for the bylaw, it would be the mayor and council who would be over looking over the applications once here.
With these, would we see all of them or she picks?
No, council would see all of them and we would choose a candidate, like the successful candidate.
Okay.
Yeah. They fill out a form
Mhm.
from the school that talks about all, like their almost exactly the same thing here. It talks about their work, and their volunteer and their extracurricular activities, and then they attach a transcript, that's what I want to say,
Marks.
of their marks, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So are we okay with just leaving out the Ontario, not specifying Canada? We're okay with that? I know Gail brought that up, but it's okay. I mean, it is very pricey to go to the States, so I don't think a lot of people might be able to afford that, but if they maybe get a scholarship or something, all the power to them, if they can go and do what they have to do. Okay.
Kelly had 3 different stories.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple of resolutions here from the report. I think that takes us to the end of the report, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So we'll start with receiving the report for information as presented. Who would like to move this one? Okay, Councillor Harper, and seconded by Councillor Hart. Resolution 2025-267 moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Hart. Be it resolved that the council of the Township of Nipissing receives CA report 2512-0301 for information as presented. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, so next is for the civil marriage solemnization services. Who would like to move this one? Yeah, Councillor Rustaver, seconder. Councillor Hart. Okay. Resolution 2025-268 moved by Councillor Rustaver, seconded by Councillor Hart. Be it resolved that this council gives 3 readings and approves bylaw number 2010, a bylaw to replace bylaw number 1965 and authorize the civil marriage solemnization services in the Township of Nipissing. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, and this is the bylaw respecting the non-union employees of the Township of Nipissing. Who would like to move this one? Try it again. I'll go with Councillor Hart to move it and Councillor Harper to second it. Since they're both wanting to have it part of that one. Resolution 2025-269 moved by Councillor Hart, seconded by Councillor Harper. Be it resolved that this council gives 3 readings and approves bylaw number 2011, a bylaw respecting the non-union employees of the Township of Nipissing. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, so this is the one we're just gonna alter a little bit here. So that this constitutes to establish a level with amendment. I don't know how to spell, to definition, C. And delete by the province of, accredited university or college, so delete recognized by province of Ontario. Okay. Okay, who'd like to move this one as amended? Councillor Westhaver, seconded by Councillor Cartwright. Resolution 2025-270, moved by Councillor Westhaver, seconded by Councillor Cartwright. Be it resolved that this council gives 3 readings and approves bylaw number 2012, a bylaw to establish a Township of Nipissing Community Youth Scholarship with amendment to definition C, delete recognized by the province of Ontario. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. All right. Sundries. Item A, we have the Economic Development Committee meeting minutes from November 5th. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Our Economic Development Officer is here. If we have any questions for her. Comments?
I just think just like to say congratulations on your applying and receiving all the grants that we much appreciate.
For me, I just have one comment. I noticed there's let's see here. The new business, there's under lagoon fountain feature. I know that's been discussed in the past before, which it's a good idea, but it's one of those icing on the cake ideas. I'm just wanting to kind of, I guess, request maybe or suggest that we don't make any decisions on the marina until we have a marina plan developed, until we know what's happening at the marina. And actually it's a good time to bring this up. I know our former CAO Lars was interested in doing a marina plan at some point, but I think the plan was to have staff do it, and I don't think we have the capacity to do one in-house. That needs to be done, like taking into consideration the kind of docks that we need and the use of the use of the land and all of that, like the moving people and moving things and where to put everything. And that's going to take a lot of time. I would like to suggest that we, again, like we take these ideas. It's not that we don't want to have ideas and sort of put them to the side and save them for the plan, maybe to discuss with whatever happens with the plan. But I think perhaps we should maybe start looking for some funding to do a plan. I know we don't have word yet on the use of the area that's cordoned off right now, but I think maybe we should be shovel ready, so to speak, with some funding in hand to get a plan going as soon as that area of the land is released and we know what's happening with it. Is everyone okay with that suggestion? I think Benmore might have some funding for a plan like that, but or the rural economic or the OMAFRA used to be the red program, but it's changed now. There might be some money there to help with that. So maybe Parks Canada and also the Superior North CFDC, but wait, their fund is only for nonprofits, so scratch that. Not for municipalities. Councillor Westhaver.
Yeah, that's a good idea to have a plan, but who would oversee that? Like, what is it? all financial, or is it like moving forward to change activities that are going on there, or I'm not quite following what the plan would.
It would be like a land, I would see it as a land, like a, how to use the land down there, like how to organize the thing. So we have old showers down there that have been decommissioned and washrooms that have been decommissioned for some time. Those buildings are
Yeah.
still up there. We have docks that are destroyed that need replacing. We can't apply for funding for that stuff unless we have some sort of plan to say that we're not gonna do the same mistake over again and have to look for another several $1 million before we've even paid everything else off, right? So, and we're not, our staff is not, they're not engineers. We're not engineers, we don't know. So we need to sort of, get a plan, and then also for the use, like, the building that, the marina workers work in, is that good enough? We have a canoe in kayaks, do we need a storage area for that? There's a lot of different things that, you know,
Plan for.
the placebo, the gazebo,
Same
the
thing.
gazebo, does that need work? Do we need a gazebo? Like, there's just so many different things that we can look at there, and, so I think that, but it's something that needs real care and attention, that our staff just don't have time to do that. Yeah, I'm not sure how much something like this would cost, but maybe I talked to Terrace Bay. I know in the past, they've done probably a pretty substantial plan for their beach area, marathon or something, and they have some
Rossport did one
costs.
too.
Yeah, Rossport just did one too. They're a little smaller though,
Yeah.
so, but it might give me some ideas.
The sound mats are still good, that stuff down there. For the arena.
This is for the community center, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the Marina. Marina. Marina.
Not the alley.
Okay, any other questions for Brianna? Comments? Okay, so we have a resolution to move, to receive the EDC meeting minutes from November 5th. Would anyone like to move this one? Councillor Cartwright. And the second by Councillor Westaver. Resolution 2025-271, moved by Councillor Cartwright, second by Councillor Westaver. Be it resolved that this council, this sounds funny. Be it resolved that this council of the Township of Nipigon receives the Economic Development Committee meeting minutes. I know, because it was giving me feedback. I turned it off on purpose. Be it resolved that this council of the Township of Nipigon receives the Economic Development Committee meeting minutes, November 5th, 2025, as presented. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay. All right, next we have the November 19th Trail Subcommittee meeting minutes. Also overseen by our EDO. So does anyone have any questions or concerns or anything about? Yep, go ahead.
I think it was nice, it was timely that we got this, because I've been walking the trails lately. And we definitely need, it was acknowledged in the minutes here that they need a larger maintenance plan. Because like right now, there are dozens of hazard trees down there. Like, I mean,
Like on
dozens.
the main trail
Yeah,
down at the.
I only went as far as Sawmill Point, but you start taking a look around, there's a lot of trees there. So I think we need some like liability mitigation there. You know, if we are taking trees down, like we should have some inspection, documented, the trees that are taken down, documented. Because as soon as somebody gets hurt and sues you, the lawyer's gonna ask, what have you guys done? And if you can't say, well, we haven't even inspected it in years. So I think we need to develop some kind of plan for that. Because it's a beautiful trail, highly used. I saw you feeding the birds there, yeah, which we do too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a highly used trail, but I think we need some kind of mitigation on there and some maintenance on it. So it was great to see the subcommittee has acknowledged that. I don't really know how we get there, but we need to figure out something like that, so.
Mhm. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that through the insurance,
Mhm.
we must do, a full sweep of at least once of the,
Okay, yeah,
of
that's what I'm
the
talking about.
trail. But because it's a wilderness trail and we promote it as such,
Mhm.
it's a black diamond because parts of it are like a difficult trail, like the climbing and everything. But that being said, that's our requirement for insurance.
Mhm.
However, and then there's a report and everything that's supposed to be generated from that and kept on file, but, besides that, of course, especially since that windstorm that we just saw there, I mean, I went down there after that windstorm, and there were about 10 trees down, big honking ones too,
Yeah.
like just.
Patty
that was
went
scary.
down, and then on the way back, the tree was down.
Yeah, I know, but
Told her to stay out
I've
of the
never been
bush
on a trail
windy
where the
days.
tree comes down, but I don't want that to happen, it's pretty scary. So realistically, there are times when someone has to go back in there, and we do have, we usually have someone contracted, I think it's between May and October to do that. But we do also have a lot of winter use of that trail as well. So I think, part of that plan needs to be something that, some kind of if it's through volunteer, or if we have to add a little bit of extra money onto the budget to take care of it during the winter as well. I think it's something that's worth doing.
But the hazard trees are a big problem.
Yeah.
And that's this kind of asking for trouble.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a priority right now, is to at least get in there and get some of the the worst ones out of there.
Mhm.
And then, like, documentation is critical, I think, like, that we need to document what trees are down.
Yeah.
When we're inspecting it, probably more than once a year also.
That's the bare minimum.
Yeah,
There should be
yeah.
more,
Maybe even quarterly or something, I don't really know, but
Question?
Yeah, Councilor Russell.
I'm just wondering if we have anybody that has chainsaw coursing, if somebody flagged those trees that are dangerous, what the M&R we used to call them widowmakers. So they're deadly. And anyways, if somebody has in public works, do they take that training?
I don't know about Public Works, but I know that the person that we hired previous year, Michael Elliott, does do has
Okay, send that report.
his own insurance and and that's why we hired him, because if you have a volunteer going out there with a jeans on,
yeah, that's the
they
problem.
get hurt, that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just better to have, for the big jobs like
Public
that.
Works, some of those guys must have chainsaw though, I would think.
Yeah, it's not a hard course, and they come and do it.
Our staff don't have formal chainsaw training. And they would also require additional safety equipment too.
Oh, okay.
Who's that? Taylor.
Which makes, and the other thing is the capacity as well to be able to do that. And I know there have been mentions in the past of the summer students getting out there and doing it, but we've had volunteer sessions in the past where you do a quick safety and how to equip, but this is just using like shears and
Yeah.
loppers and stuff like that. Whereas when you have like a chainsaw, you should have. If we ever need chainsaw stuff being done, probably it should be someone hired to do it, such as Michael, who has that.
I've seen it in the past where they do, where one, like the chainsaw guy is all certified and he has some, I call them pilots with him
Mhm,
to pile all the wood,
mhm.
like, so maybe something like that would help, or,
Yeah.
just to get something done,
Yeah, for sure. Any other questions?
There's the commercial, the machines that come and they just pick the tree up, slice it.
Yeah, would be nice to have one of those.
A little expensive.
Yeah,
Put a bunch on the trail then.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
all right. Okay, thank you for that, guys. So I don't think that we have a resolution for that. That's just for information. Okay, because I believe, because it's a subcommittee of agencies. And then we have, item 16, October 16th, District of Thunder Bay Social Services Administration Board meeting minutes. Does anyone have comments about that?
Not sure why they share that with us.
Well, we pay a levy, and we do have representation on there. I believe it's a Red Rock council member who's represented on there.
Okay.
And sometimes we do have relevant information on there, like when they were talking about building a plex up on their property where one of the houses burned down. I just usually scan it to see if there's
Yeah.
anything relevant to us. A lot of it's closed session. I mean, there's some early years in childcare that might
Yeah.
be pertinent to us, but yeah. No, it's good because we do pay a levy to the DSAP, so it's good to just stay aware. Next, we have correspondence from the Superior North EMS. Oh, sorry, first of all, sorry. That's next in our package, but in our agenda, we have the Superior Country Annual Report. That was just sent separately, right? Because it was big. I do have a printed copy of it if anyone wants to take a look at it, bring it home or borrow it or whatever and bring it back for somebody
He
else.
sent it to us too.
Yeah, and it's also on by email.
Website.
Yeah, I think it might be on the website,
Yeah.
but I think he might have emailed it out, or I know Dan emailed it to Tim, so Tim emailed it out to us as part of our package. Dan could not be here tonight, but this is just for information, so there are no financial asks or anything, so as an employee of Superior Country, I can ask or answer any questions that you might have about the report. If anyone has any questions, that's okay. If you have any questions and you want to read it, it's quite substantial, so if you want to read it, it's just for information, and you have any questions, feel free to contact Dan, and he can answer any questions you might
Well,
have.
you guys must have did well with your awards.
Yes,
Yeah.
Superior Country did win an award, which is Superior Country is based out of Nipigon, so that's
Yeah.
thank you for noting that, for innovation, for doing the campaign. Thank you for visiting campaign. I don't know if everyone saw the hearts around
Yeah.
town with the US and the Canadian flag, to make our US visitors feel welcome. So that was what won the award, so. Yeah.
Good job. Who designed that?
Our in-staff, graphic designer, and
Nice.
she was at Terrace Bay. Okay, so, seeing nothing else there, we'll move on to, oh, wait, sorry. We do have to, accept the DSAP minutes, but those were just for information. All right, who would like to move to accept those minutes? Yeah. Counselor Cartwright,
I'll just-
seconded by Counselor Westaver. So we have resolution 2025 272 moved by Counselor Cartwright, seconded by Counselor Westaver. Be it resolved that the council of the township of Nipigon receives the District of Thunder Bay Social Services Administration Board meeting minutes October 16th, 2025 as presented. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay. And then we do have a resolution that we received the annual report from Superior Country. Who would like to move this one? Counselor Hart, seconded by Counselor Westaver. Resolution 2025-273 moved by Counselor Hart, seconded by Counselor Westaver. Be it resolved that this council, the Township of Nipigon, receives the Superior Country Annual Report 2024-2025 as presented. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay, and then we did receive the correspondence from Superior North EMS. There was a potential that they would be going on strike, and it looks like they have averted that. So in summary of this letter, a tentative deal has been reached, the strike has been avoided. Superior North EMS operations will continue as normal, and final approval is contingent upon union ratification and subsequent presentation to City Thunder Bay Council. All right. Do we have a resolution to receive this information? Counselor Cartwright, moved and seconded by Counselor Harper. Resolution 2025-274 moved by Counselor Cartwright, seconded by Counselor Harper. Be it resolved that this council, the Township of Nipigon, receives the Superior North EMS correspondence November 25th, 2025 as presented. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay. Next, we have our Public Works report with Taylor, 25, Public Works report 25/12/03/02. And Taylor, you're on the line with us. There you are.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
You can go ahead and present your report, please.
Okay, awesome. So the first item is a landfill policy briefing note. So at the last council meeting, staff advised that nearby ministry listed landfill sites at Polly Lake and Dublin were shown as open on the provincial registry. So this information was used to support the recommendation that non-resident waste should not be accepted at the municipal landfill. Following the meeting, a resident contacted staff indicating that those sites in practice were not operating. So staff subsequently contacted the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry for clarification. So they provided the following information. The Polly Lake and Dublin landfill sites are listed as open on the ministry's website because formal closure activities such as capping haven't been completed. However, the sites are not currently operating because there is no operator in place. So historically, these sites were operated by local individuals or groups, and those operators have since ceased operations. And since the MNR doesn't operate the landfills themselves, and if no such operator is present, they typically do close those sites to public access until an operator is secured. The sites are currently in a mothballed state, meaning they could be reopened if a group or organization was willing to take on operational responsibility. So this information confirms that while these landfills are non-operational at this time, they do remain available for reactivation should a local group choose to pursue operating them. They explicitly noted that reopening is a possibility if an operator steps forward. The updated ministry information doesn't change staff recommendation. The municipal landfill is funded and managed for the benefit of municipal residents, and accepting waste from non-residents reduces available capacity and increases operational pressures. The MNR made it clear that surrounding areas do have the potential, with options available to them through local organization and reestablishment of an operator. Responsibilities for operating or advocating for their own disposal capacity should rest with those communities, as the process for expanding a current landfill or developing a new one is very challenging. The reopening of such sites could provide a significant decrease in the amount of waste at our landfill, given many of the members of surrounding communities do also have primary residences in Nipigon. And given this new information, the landfill policy is presented to council with and without Clause D, which is a temporary non-resident household waste punch card system. So in order to support the unorganized communities surrounding the municipality temporarily while efforts are made to reopen the respective landfills, punch cards would be sold at the municipal office to non-residents for household garbage waste only. Each card would contain 20 punches, one punch equaling one bag of household garbage, for the price of $100, working out to $5 per bag of household waste. The cards are priced to fully cover tipping and handling costs, staff time and administration, and long-term landfill capacity limits. Strictly no bulky waste, construction debris, or hazardous materials will be accepted from non-residents, and punch cards will not be transferable and would be tied to a name and address verifying residency in surrounding unincorporated areas. This system will be reviewed after 6 months and discounted if abuse, excessive volume, or capacity concerns arise. Clear communication that the program is temporary, intended only to bridge the gap while local groups explore obtaining operators for Polly Lake and Dublin sites, respectively. And then this is just an additional note about the Electronic Products Recycling Association. They were on site at the landfill today and picked up a significant amount of the e-waste. It was supposed to happen last week, but it got postponed due to the snowstorm. But yeah, it was really nice to see that they did, in fact, come down and pick our stuff up.
So okay, Taylor, I'm going to stop you right there. So let's, if we can, talk about, because I know we usually go through your whole report, but I think there's a lot there, and I think in the next one there's a lot too. So I think we should just talk about this one before we move on to the next one and decide what we're going to do, if that's okay with everybody. Yeah. Does this, I know we did vote to not accept any outside waste from any non-residents of the area. Does this change anybody's mind? Does anyone have any comments or anything?
Doesn't change my mind. Temporary till the dump is open at Polly Lake or Dublin. Well, we all know that that's not going to happen.
That's what I was thinking.
And the MNR said like local operators. the M&R were the local operators. They were the ones that ran the dumps all around here. They're the ones that closed them. It wasn't local operators, like it wasn't the Poly Lakes Camping Association that ran that dump. It was the M&R that ran all the dumps around here. So anyways, I still believe that we shouldn't be accepting any non-resident. It was acknowledged in here that a new dump is very challenging, as we, if you look around, as some of it, Marathon had a horrible time trying to find one. And I don't think it would be easy. So we need to protect our dump, I believe, and limit it to taxpayers only.
And there's still Red Rock, obviously.
Yeah.
Red Rock is still an
Yeah.
option.
And Gurney.
And Gurney takeout sideways. So there are two other options as well. Anyone else?
And they can take it home with them.
Yeah. Yeah, and as well, as mentioned, quite a few people that have camps in those areas actually live in Nippigan or live in Red Rock or live in, so they are members of the community and are able
Already,
to.
yeah.
There's probably not like a handful, I can't say for sure, but there are some from out of town for sure, but they can make their way to Gurney or Red Rock.
But there's Gurney here.
So we're still good with that. We'll do the resolution when that comes up. So we would look at option one. That's what we would go with. No non-residential waste accepted. Okay?
Yeah.
Taylor?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
All right, I'll
And
move
good
on.
job with the electronic products too, because
Yeah, that's nice.
Thanks.
glad they got picked up.
Rather than vote on this, I guess.
Well, yeah, I think it'll just be covered through the resolution.
Oh, it does?
Yep. Okay, go ahead with the next bit there, Taylor.
Okay, so the next topic is regarding landfill winter hours and rural waste service options. So Public Works has reviewed the concerns raised by rural residents regarding restricted winter landfill hours and the lack of curbside garbage collection or alternate disposal methods in rural areas of the municipality. So approximately 90 to 100 households don't receive curbside collection and thus are affected by the winter hours due to location, meaning any alternative disposal method must be applied equitably to all non-serviced properties. Expanding service to all non-service households would generate a significant increase in waste volume and create added operational and financial pressures. Based on staff review, only two potential long-term solutions exist, both of which require further exploration due to cost, logistics, and operational feasibility. So the first option was a transfer station or a drop-off depot in town. A satellite drop-off depot located on municipal property could provide residents with a more flexible disposal option. However, the site would require secure bins, fencing, camera surveillance to prevent illegal dumping. And then obviously high volumes of waste from all the non-serviced households would need continuous monitoring to ensure compliance with household-only waste rules. The township currently does not own equipment capable of unloading large roll-off containers, meaning potential new equipment or contracted services and additional staff could be required. A depot in town may not meaningfully address the concerns for residents living near the landfill who are already closest to the existing disposal service. So while this first option could improve accessibility, the capital and operating costs are expected to be pretty significant. So the second option is extending curbside collection to rural areas. So the rural curbside collection could be introduced on a trial basis to assess cost, route time, and operational impacts. So some considerations that we would need to think about are the fact that pickup along the Trans-Canada Highway poses a significant safety risk for municipal staff. So potentially special training and safety measures would need to be implemented. Rural roads may pose winter safety challenges, particularly for the garbage truck. This is especially a concern during winter storm events, as staff capacity is limited and exceeded with garbage collection and snow removal on those days. Service must be applied to all non-serviced households, not selectively. Collection costs are considerably higher in rural areas, therefore affected households would need to be added to the sanitary area tax rate, or a different rate would need to be established to reflect the true service costs. So implementing two sanitary rates is administratively complex and may cause confusion for some of the residents. And then another thought was biweekly collection could reduce costs, but staffing deployment remains difficult with the existing equipment constraints. And then obviously offering the service seasonally in the winter only is not operationally viable and would represent a major shift in service levels. So this option represents a substantial long-term policy change requiring careful financial and operational planning. So at this time, no solution exists that can be implemented quickly or without significant cost, equipment needs, or staffing implications. Maintaining the current winter landfill hours with continued Saturday access continues to be the most practical approach until council provides direction on whether to pursue either a municipally operated transfer station or depot, or the expansion of curbside collection into the rural areas. Each of these options require detailed feasibility analysis, cost projections, and capital planning, and operational review before any recommendations can be brought back to council for a decision. So given the complexity, cost, and long-term implications of both potential solutions, staff recommend issuing a survey to all affected non-serviced households to determine the amount of community support for expanded services, which of the two options, if any, residents prefer, the willingness to pay increased fees or rates associated with expanded services, and then barriers or concerns that the residents foresee with each of the options. Collecting this data will help determine the potential uptake of the extended services before investing staff time and municipal resources into detailed studies.
Okay, I'm just gonna pop in there for a minute. So just to confirm, the winter hours were changed and we all agreed on that.
Yeah.
Due to health and safety reasons for the staff person there. So that's a non-starter.
And
we're not
and for the
that.
residents.
For the yeah. So because they go up into the dark and all that, it's not properly lit and everything, it's a safety hazard.
But it was done last year.
That's why it was changed. Yeah, it was last year as well.
Yeah.
The other thing is, we already went through this.
Okay.
We offered pickup to rural residences to opt in or opt out. There were not enough, as soon as they found out they had to pay extra, because we in town pay extra to get pickup. They did not, the majority did not want to do it. It wasn't enough to get that going. We offered that.
And
Right.
also, see,
And yeah, and the safety on the highway thing too, but that there was, I don't think there's a reason to send out another survey because we did that already. And there was no uptake for it because they didn't want to pay for it. How many households have you received complaints from?
2.
2. Okay, out of 90. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I would suggest, and I'll go around in a minute there just to see if anyone else has any suggestions. But if how many in the 2 households, you don't have to answer this question, but I'm just putting it out there because I don't want to identify them. But if there are 2 people in the household, do those 2 people always work all those days, like the Saturday and like, or is it every second week? Is there like a neighbor that when they're working, they can take it in? Like, I'm not really sure what the issue is, if it's work or if they're, how they're unable to do it any of those days of the week, even on the Saturday. So that might be just something that those 2 households have to figure out. I know if we're out of town or something and we can't put our garbage out, well, it skips a week, or we get a neighbor to put it out for us. So maybe they get a neighbor to bring it to them. So for 2 households that are complaining out of the 90, it's just one of those things that you can't make everything perfect for everybody, but it's not something that we can change because 2 households are having an issue with making it to the dump on the Saturday or before 4.
Yeah, just in addition, I will say that the 2 households have kind of stated that many of their neighboring residents feel the same way, but I've only received formal complaints from the 2 specifically.
Okay.
So
yeah, and I mean we can only do with what we receive formal written complaints about. Yeah. And again, it's something that we can't blow our budget on doing specific things for specific people and all that. And I get that. There must be an issue with them getting to the landfill site, otherwise there'd be but there's just got to be a way of maybe just kind of figuring out a way to get her done, kind of thing, with that. Because we surveyed rural people and there was not enough uptake to do it, and they must pay for that service. If
if it's
I don't
something
think
that they
there was
wanna
two
do.
people that said they wanted it.
And I know that if we ddid it for everybody and charged them, we'd have about
Right.
88 people that would be upset about it. So, Counselor Harper, go ahead.
This exercise has been repeated numerous times over the decades, and it's always the same. People want garbage collection, but as soon as they find out they have to pay extra for it, very few want it, and they all back away. And that's been
Because they don't
consistent.
realize it.
No,
They
no,
don't
that, you're
realize
right,
that they-
for
they-
sure, yeah,
they
they
pay
don't
extra.
necessarily realize that, but that's been happening for decades.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, Counselor.
And the other thing that came up was, the safety of the truck drivers on the rural area that are driving that garbage truck. I can always get almost hit in the winter time with a 45-degree angle snowdrift coming down the side of the guardrail, and you can't get off the highway. And if the garbage truck's a lot wider than my car, and you have those guys back there and two transports are passing, it says, this came up already. It's a safety hazard, and it's not worth risking our employees to put them out there in danger. That's my opinion, and it came up last time.
And I'd be willing to sit down with, because I received a complaint a couple of years ago, when we first put this in from, I think might be the same individual. I'd be willing to sit down with them too, with yourself,
Yeah.
and listen to what they're talking about, and see if there's any more less complex solutions that we can help them
Yeah.
come up with. You know, the household
Yeah.
working together to help each other out, like taking turns bringing it to the dump on Saturday. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's just not possible for us to sort of redo our whole system for that, unfortunately.
Could I just run a third option by you, maybe you could bring to the two people that I was one of those that complained about that. This is something that would work for me, and maybe you could run it by the other people, or the 9 people, rural people. Would it be possible to close the dump on one of the weekdays that it's open and open it on the Sunday instead? Because during the winter, yeah, because I'm wondering if those other people have the same problem that we have, is that they're working 6 days a week. A lot of people, most people don't work on Sundays. Do you think you could ask them if that's something that would work for them, and
For 2 hours.
run it by them?
Or
Unless it's a unionized job.
I don't know if there's a problem with the union, or like switch, instead of being open on the Saturday, switch to the Sunday for winter hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not something we could do for now, for this winter, like we have to move
Yeah.
like forward with what's happening this winter. But we might look at talking
For
to the folks that are having issues, and then maybe look at that for a solution for next year, is in the winter time. It changes to Sundays.
Yeah.
I think with the weekday, I think that there's a lot of businesses that go during the week to bring their stuff there. But maybe switching the 2 days on the weekend, if the attendant's okay with it, might be an option for next year.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Or have it open 1 hour on Sunday and take it over Saturday.
Well,
I don't know whether
you
you go in
can't
for
have
1
someone
hour.
to go in for an hour to work, you have to pay them for 3 hours
People
annually.
yeah.
Is the dump unionized, the attendant?
Is the attendant, landfill
No.
attendant unionized?
No.
So if he was flexible, it would be
Yeah.
okay. Well, good suggestion for maybe for.
Yeah,
Is it-
thanks.
I know that would make it easier for me, so maybe some of these, maybe the other people, maybe that's their problem, too. Maybe that would fix their problem.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Anne Marie.
Okay, all right, so that's, sorry, there's more in your.
I just have one more. Yeah.
That
have
was
one
just
more.
for information purposes, but go ahead.
Yeah, so the township currently operates a 2009 Labrie side load garbage packer. And over the past several years, the unit has experienced accelerated deterioration due to age, kilometers, and corrosion. At its most recent assessment, the unit requires 10 to 15,000 in immediate repairs to meet annual safety requirements. Repairs including lighting, electrical systems, corrosion, air system repairs, and structural deficiencies. Given the unit age and condition, staff identified it as a priority for replacement to avoid service disruptions to residential waste collection. A surplus 2012 International 7400 SBA side load garbage packer from the city of Thunder Bay was recently listed on Gov Deals. This city has a documented preventative maintenance program, and the truck was only removed from service in September 2025 as part of a scheduled fleet renewal. The township placed a bid and successfully acquired the unit for $2,500. The 2012 Packer has been transported to Maxim Truck and Trailer for a full safety inspection, diagnostic of hydraulic, electrical, lighting, and braking systems to determine required repairs to place the unit into active service. Preliminary expectations are that the truck will require some mechanical work to meet safety certification. However, even with repairs, the total cost is expected to be lower than investing further into the 2009 Labrie garbage packer. Securing the 2012 unit mitigates risk of breakdowns or service interruptions resulting from continued reliance on the older packer. Once repairs are completed and safety cert is achieved, the 2012 unit will be placed into the fleet as our primary packer. The 2009 unit will be evaluated for decommissioning on or disposal options.
Sounds good news.
That's great.
Yeah. So lastly, and I guess we kind of already touched on this back when we were talking, when I did my landfill policy briefing note, but obviously my only recommendation is that council select one of the landfill policy options regarding whether the township will continue to accept non-resident household waste beyond December 31st, 2025, which I already got my answer on. So thank you.
Yeah, so we'll put this through resolution. So if you can contact the folks that
Yep.
that have the issues and see if that might work for next winter, because we do have to approve this. It's been going on long.
Certainly.
Like this landfill.
Yeah.
Gotta approve it for January 1st, but if that's something next
me
winter
too.
that would work for them, switching it to Sunday, then maybe we can bring that forward at a later date. Yeah.
Yep.
And there you go. Okay, resolution, this is the resolution to accept option number 1 for the landfill policy. Who would like to move this? Councillor Westhaver, seconded by Councillor Harper. Resolution 2025-275, moved by Councillor Westhaver, seconded by Councillor Harper. Be it resolved, this council, the Township of Nipigon receives PWS report 2512-0302 for information, and that this council approves landfill policy option number 1. All in favor? Opposed? And carried. Okay.
Here, I have one question.
Thank you, guys. Yep.
Oh, just a sec.
Just,
Yep.
with the landfill cards, how are they coming out? Or do people have them already?
Are they going out pretty good?
Yep. People are coming into the municipal office and getting them. And if people do reach out and request, we can mail them as well.
Okay, would they go out in the tax bills in the new year, or?
I don't know. Are we getting them to be signed out here, like for pickup? Or are they going out in the tax bills or?
They didn't go out, or it wasn't the plan to go out in the tax bill. My understanding is that quite a few people have come down to the municipal office to pick them
I
up.
have one.
Okay. Awesome, thank you. Okay, and last but not least, item number 8, economic development. We have Brianna's report, 2511-29-1 about regional veterinary services partnership development. Pretty straightforward, I think. Does anyone have any comments or questions for Brianna about this? Right now, it's for information and to direct you to go proceed forward with this. If right, I don't think we have a resolution for this. Oh, there we go. Yes.
Yeah. So we have made a connection with the Hamilton Burlington Society, and Dr. Tammy Horvath has spent her career kind of traveling to northern communities to deliver these kinds of clinics. It is something that they are interested in working on a partnership with. We were just kind of looking for direction to continue on to that partnership, as well as to create a steering committee between the adjoining communities who would be interested in making that kind of a regional partnership.
Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, sorry, it's within the resolution here. Okay, so your recommendation is for option 1 proceed with the regional veterinary partnership, yeah? Okay. I think, the girls, did you guys have any comments about the veterinary services?
No, I think it's a good idea.
Good idea, right? Yeah. I know that, I met on the street a person that I know whose dog was having issues and they were trying to get in to see a vet and like, because they didn't have a vet. And the dog ended up passing away eventually. I don't know if it was because of the issue, but they just could not get in to see. We have a vet, but we couldn't get our dog in time to get her shots done, so we had to go and see the retired vet in Pass Lake, which was a bit of an adventure. Me and Sasha went on it, planes, trains, and automobiles. But yeah, it's really, really good. I know Lars has been trying to move this forward and appreciate you continuing that work. And I think that us taking the lead on it makes sense, for sure.
So what actually will they do? Like,
So we discussed a couple of different options. Of course, there is a significant cost in bringing them up here, but that cost can be relieved by us taking pre-bookings and kind of charging to the clients prior to them coming up and then paying the clinic out that way. So the two different kinds of clinics she typically does one would be a general wellness, so that you would see tick and flea management, shots, general checkup, that kind of thing. They also do birth control implants, which is very interesting. It's non-invasive and it allows like you to pay or neuter your pet without surgery. So they also do surgical clinics. You're looking at probably 3 times the cost, but you would charge a little bit more, of course, for those appointments. The surgical clinic would be your full spay, neuter, any kind of issues. The one really interesting thing is that once they do take the clients in, they are part of the SPCA database. So you have access to veterinary services kind of like virtual. So if you do have any issues, they already have all of your pet's information, which is a lot of the times you get those clinics online and they're like, you have to take your pet in anyway. So it kind of mitigates that. She was very clear that it's not a service she wants to bring up one time, that it would have to be something that's minimum 2 times a year, so that we're not leaving a gap in the community for those animals, as well as talking about long-term sustainability. But yeah, it seems like she's able to offer pretty much the full range of services, as long as she's given the notice to do so.
Would we be responsible for doing all the booking?
So that's a big part of it, is the administration side. She would really like to see us champion that, as well as, we would have to be volunteering in the clinic, be there daily, kind of doing all of that reception work for them, because it takes 4 or 5 of them to turn over 100 animals or so a day. And they would need us to kind of be there, but yeah, that would be on us.
I would say that probably you would be able to find a committee of people willing to work on this. And I think you would probably find a number of people that would be willing to volunteer. I mean, for a couple of times a year or something like that. And the girls were saying, Sasha and
Some of the
Peyton were saying.
students might wanna do that too, are
Just-
looking into going into veterinary stuff, they might wanna go and do that for volunteer hours.
I think that would be an attractive
Mhm.
thing for some of the students to help
Yeah,
with.
if it gets like mark, you know,
If it
in the
happens,
school, if it gets brought up in the school, they might bring up a lot of people that.
you guys could help recruit and sign people up and bring names to Brianna if this happens during their term.
That would be great, yeah.
I think a lot of adults would be willing to volunteer. I would volunteer for that.
I personally would as well.
And that would be in the community center probably.
Depending on what kind of clinic they're running, community center could be for a general wellness. If we needed to go surgical, we would have to provide them a room at the hospital with oxygen and the surgical table, that kind of thing. So that would be another thing we would have to discuss with
I
the
know
hospital.
they did a surgical clinic at, they've done a few of them, they've done a few surgical clinics at Red Rock, Indian Band in Lake Helen, just at the community center. They,
Yeah.
yeah, they had, I guess they brought their oxygen and everything with them because they've done that. before, and they did, like 150 spay and neuters over the course of 3 days. Just like an assembly line with them, but they did it all over the community center.
That's a possibility too, is to see if the band would like to partner as well, because and in addition to, Red Rock, Dorian, all the, and the band as well, to see if they're interested in partnering on this. And then if the band has actually done this in the past, they might have an idea of what type of, so we can start thinking of what type of facility we would need here.
I did send emails out to all the adjoining communities, including Red Rock, Indian Band, so hopefully they follow up and
Great. Look forward to hearing about it.
Get a hold of Ivy Walry. Ivy, yeah.
Okay.
They used to do that in Red Rock all the time too, like years ago, the vets would come and we, 5, 6 people had dogs that had maybe an injury, and then they do a surgery, even right at the Fish and Game Club. So it's not new.
Yeah, you need a place where it's okay to get hair.
Yeah.
Like in a hospital or something or like even the community center, dogs aren't really allowed in there. You're gonna have hair and allergens and stuff. It's gonna be a place that's kind of hairy. Potentially be hairy.
School, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not sure.
Any open space.
Something to think about for sure, right? So we're okay with this one.
We had an issue a while back with a dog that was left abandoned and had a big tumor. Would they be interested in something, if the town ended up having a dog that needed a vet?
Well, I don't think they could just, I'm gonna pop in there because this is something where it would be planned.
Right.
They can't come up, they're coming from Hamilton, right? So they can't just come up for one dog kind of thing. It would have, that's why it couldn't be like emergencies and things like that.
Okay,
It would have to, unless the emergency happened to be, well, they're here for the 2 days a year or whatever.
I didn't
that they're
realize
here.
they were Hamilton, I thought they
Yeah.
were Thunder Bay.
Yeah, that kind of thing, it would be
No,
a
no.
whole other issue,
Yeah,
but
we still have that issue.
this is more for planned veterinary care kind of thing.
We still have that issue
Yeah.
with dogs.
Yeah.
Being abandoned here.
Okay, so do we have a mover for this to receive the report and to authorize staff to get moving on this? Yeah, Councillor Harper to move, who would like to second? Councillor Steven, pets and dogs get people moving, like super
Yeah.
enthusiastic about moving and seconding. Okay, resolution 2025-276, moved by Councillor Harper, second by Councillor Cartwright. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Nipigon receives the EDO report 2511-2901 for information and authorize staff to convene a regional steering committee, engage neighboring municipalities, and begin preparing a partnership framework and operational plan for council's future consideration. All in favor? Opposed? Ooh. I'm just gonna add and First Nation. Sorry, before we do that, I'll read it again.
They didn't invite us, so.
Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Nipigon receives the EDO report 2511-2901 for information, authorize staff to convene a regional steering committee, engage neighboring municipalities and First Nation, and begin First Nations, and begin preparing a partnership framework and operational plan for council's future consideration. All in favor? Opposed? Flying post might also be an option too, if they have space there to do a clinic or whatever they're in Nipigon, so. Distance. But again, the fur, if they ever want to reopen that. then-
I don't know what life's like without fur, so.
Okay, so this concludes our meeting, but before we go to closed session, I'm gonna go around to see if anyone has any other business. Councillor Harper?
I had one thing that I forgot from Public Works, the marina plowing, do we go all the way down to the end? Because it wasn't this time, they turned around at the boat launch, and they didn't go all the way to the far end.
Which was this time, because the
Taylor knows.
just this recent snow?
Yeah, I don't know, I wasn't sure.
It usually does get plowed. all the
Okay.
way.
Usually we do go all the way to the end.
Right on, okay, yeah, because getting into the trail and people go down there and all.
I
that
walked
stuff.
down there today and it seemed to be,
Okay, it was just the last time I was there, it
Yeah.
wasn't, they turned around at the boat launch,
Yeah.
but maybe that was because whatever.
didn't have time or
Yeah, or
something.
something,
That was their
Yeah.
emergency
It's,
plan.
it's usually the last on their list.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe one more thing too,
yeah,
what,
go ahead.
did we get the snowplow? That.
yes.
Yep. I don't know if
everything
you,
worked out good?
the blue, yeah, everything went out well.
Pictures in the paper.
I don't
Yeah.
remember yet.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was ready just
I
in
haven't
time.
seen it, so it worked good and everything, so that's awesome, right on. Okay, thanks,
Yeah.
Taylor.
The big blue box if you see it around town.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure I will.
Okay, Counselor Hart,
That's just my little thing there.
good thing you wrote down, I forgot. Go ahead.
Okay, I have been approached by a few people, when there's a survey, they had no idea there was a survey, and find out the hard way that something's been decided that they had no knowledge of, so. Suggestion, when we are putting out a survey, not just to put it on the website, a lot of people don't, not computer savvy, or, anyways, I don't know what the solution is, other than maybe, putting it in town at the Zepners, at the Legion, and some other spots like that, rather than just having it on our website.
Normally, when we have paper surveys, they just go at the library and the municipal office. But it would help to have posters about the survey around. Always, I know it's hard to remind ourselves to do that, but whenever there's something of significance posted online, we should always have a paper poster of it up, at least at our municipal office or and the rec center, what Zechner's, whatever, right, depending on what it is, but and then the surveys themselves are kind of hard to collect when they're at about 10 different places.
Well, no, it'd be up to them to
But-
bring it in.
No, but like it's still like,
At the
having to
post
send
office,
them
we
out.
put a little stack like this.
Post office.
they won't let you post office.
They won't let you.
No, but
Okay.
municipal office and library, I mean, libraries
And
open on the
Zepners,
weekends.
they would probably that, yeah. And the Edge Arts, and there's a lot of places they could go.
Yeah.
For people.
Yeah. For sure. Yep. Absolutely. Good point. Okay. Anything else?
I don't know if this is a public works question or a recreation question. Are we going to have a sliding hill this year by the marina? Sometimes we'll take that down the stone X and they pile it on.
I don't know about this I haven't heard anything about a sliding hill, but I can follow up with Kristen, but I do know that we're going to be doing the skating trail again.
I think that's one of those things that you do either or, and we haven't done the sliding hill for a very long time. That's been
People have
about
been
10
asking
years.
me.
Yeah. Well, because it's also on a road,
Yeah.
so it's it's a little, yeah, but I think usually in lieu of what they've been doing is the skating trail, which was
Anyway,
really
look
nice.
at that.
Yeah.
Skating,
Yeah, we did it last year,
The
in the field, the recreation field.
recreation field, okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah, they did it all year last
Okay.
year. Yeah, it was good. Okay, is that it? Girls, do you have anything that you'd like to, any other business? No? Staff, Brianna, do you have anything? No? Okay, I actually don't think I have anything.
What?
I feel like I'm gonna forget something, but I don't have anything.
Do we have another meeting before the Parade of Lights?
Oh, Parade of Lights.
Parade of Lights.
No, I don't think so. When's the Parade of Lights?
14th, I think.
The 14th of December?
Yeah, December
Just a reminder.
14th.
Yeah, okay. A reminder about the Parade of Lights happening on December the 14th. So sign up if you haven't already and make sure to be outside your house and check it out. It's always fun. Oh, and congratulations to thank you to the Holiday Train CPKC
Wow.
for the $5,500 in total that was given to our food banks
That's awesome.
last night. So yeah, great job. And I think that's everything. Okay, so we're gonna go into closed session at this point. Who would like to move this? Counselor Westhaver, seconded by Counselor,